Sacred moments. Sacred moments with you. Sacred moments. Yeah. Enter in sacred moments. I'm here in this space on this day with you. I'm here in this sacred space witnessing the morning dew. Sacred moments. In voice and in victory, we will share our thoughtful view, conversing and even challenging things we thought we knew. Sacred moments. With expectancy and excitement is this time set aside. Won't you enter in with us? And come on, let's take this ride. Riding the waves of wonder and whimsy. We're not here to do silly or flimsy. We're sacred moments. We are here open to listen and engage and converse. You know I'm going to keep the triune God in sight and first. I'm here with you on this holy mountain of meaning, sharing vows and syllables, discussing powerful gleanings. It's sacred moments. With songs and sonnets and poems and prose, this is not just another one of those radio shows. It's sacred moments. It's sacred moments with me as your host, here to clear and create and commune with you from coast to coast. It's sacred moments. Enter. Do, 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 do.
I knew I was going to get caught chewing.
Well, I'm humming, so, hey. I mean, I really needed that chill out, smooth it out, cool like that beat this morning. So it helped me greatly. Hopefully, it's helped the audience, and, hopefully they're nodding their head and, doing all that kind of stuff like I was doing in the background.
Right.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, audience from coast to coast, from country to country, continent to continent. It is Sunday morning. It is 9 a.m. on the East Coast, and we are here, Sacred Moments, yet again with another engaging, informative, equipping, empowering conversation. And we can't do it without you. So we're glad to have you here. Say good morning in the chat or, in the different various social media links, and tell us where you're joining us from. And of course, tell us what kind of week you had, because that's like our beginning opening stuff. What kind of week did you have? And I'm laughing at myself because I don't have enough time in this radio show to tell nobody what kind of week I had.
You had a crazy week?
It was filled. It was filled with surprises, sacred moments, crazy dreams,
Crazy dreams. Oh boy.
Yes, yeah. I was sharing with one of my friends that I've been having these off and on for about 2 years now, these really vivid dreams about different things. And I had one this week, and I was, you wake up and you shake it off because it was a dream, it's not reality. So I had one of those. Interesting to say the least. But anyway, so it was just filled with a lot of things. It was good weather, bad weather, really good conversations with my BFFs. Your mom posted something on Facebook I thought was hilarious, where there were these two cousins that were talking on the phone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I posted that, and then she tagged you in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was like, "This is me and B Michelle."
Yeah, that's how I am with my friends. Like for like the first 5 minutes of every call, we laughing
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. Laughter is good for the soul. So yes, yes.
We
What kind of week did you have?
It was okay. We sent my mom and Miss Nancy on a trolley tour. I was hoping that you could go too. I think I got the dates mixed up. I don't know, but
No, that was actually my fault. I double checked
okay.
yesterday.
Yeah, so they took with Harriet's Bookshop. The trolley started there, and it took them to different black-owned businesses. So that was cool. We try to do things for our seniors as much as we can. We are planning our senior self-care event. We had it planned right before COVID hit. We had all these sponsors and all this cool stuff, but then COVID hit and we couldn't have it. So we're planning to do that again. So, I'm super excited about that. That's kind of my league of the nonprofit. Naima does like the literacy program with the kids. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm excited about that. So that's pretty much my week, just planning and talking to different people, making connections, trying to get a new podcast. I think I got a new podcast client, so we'll be adding somebody to our network.
Good,
Oh, yeah.
good. The network is really growing too, right?
Yeah, I'm excited. We're getting new channels. We're on iHeartRadio now for this particular show. Yeah, so I'm just trying to grow. You know me though. Like now, I'm like everybody's doing podcasts. I need an actual TV show. How can I get a TV studio? So that's like what I'm trying to do now. I
Wow.
need a studio audience and some people, and then a little mic, like the Price is Right mics. I could be like, so how
Yeah.
did that make you feel when your mom did that? And like, I want
Yeah.
to have a show.
And then the camera zooms in on their face.
Yeah, and they're like, "What?" They didn't have no idea I was gonna break up their mom. They was like, "I want to talk about my mom." Okay, we're gonna talk about your mom.
Oh my
Your
God.
mom is backstage. You're bringing her out. It's like, no. I want to. That's what I'm trying to progress to. So
You are definitely a visionary because you can see things like far out. And then also like someone was telling me, because I'm writing a vision statement for my health this year. Like I'm in a program where we're taking like baby steps, but and I don't think I've ever done like a vision for my health because I have these different health issues. So it's been really engaging, it's thought provoking, but the implementation, and that's what you have, because she said, you can write the vision, but the scripture says in Habakkuk, write the vision, make it plain, and run with it. And that's how I started actually the ministry, because I wrote out the mission statement and the vision statement. So then making the
implementation.
implementation of it is really, because you can write a vision, but then you got to, then you
That's
got to
deep
make it.
though. Nobody ever says the and run with it part though. Like you never
Exactly.
hear people say that.
Well, my mentor said that for my ministry after, we
Mm-hmm.
were talking about like, what God had been giving me. And she said it so strongly that I was like, now, okay, I hear what you're saying, but now run with it. So you got to sit down and do this work. You have to set up how you want this to look, and it can change. It can, evolve, but you have to make that I have a vision that's not just all that there is to it, but you definitely are a visionary, and you make an implementation, which I just think is amazing. And I'm grateful to know you in that way.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm trying to decide. Today is our last day, Sunday, for Black History Month. And we do have a guest. So I was trying to figure out, should I read this Black History piece? And I think I am. And then we're going to have our guests come on. So, I share some of my pieces, throughout our radio shows as God leads me. But I wanted to read this one. It's from this anthology that I actually have a piece in. It's called Philly Johns. This is the name of the book, Philly Johns for Women Revisited, a 20+20 poetry anthology. And it's in tribute to Nina Simone. And we know that Nina Simone, was an activist and a singer and just an amazing, amazing human, amazing Black woman, that just gave the world so much of herself. The editors are Deborah Powell Wright, who was on our show, and Pat McLean Smith, who I hope to get on our show soon. But it's this poem that Renette Nia Ebo wrote years ago, right, Khadija? And she wrote this poem so many years ago, but I've seen this poem on so many Facebook pages and social media sites without giving her credit. And that bothers me because this woman, I wish I can remember how long ago, but I mean, it's probably at least 10 or 15 years ago, maybe even more. And so for Black History Month, I wanted to give this piece. It's called Lord, Why Did You Make Me Black? Hmm.
Mm.
So it reads, Lord, Lord, why did you make me black? Why did you make me someone who the world wants to hold back? Black is the color of dirty clothes, the color of grimy hands and feet. Black is the color of darkness, the color of tired, beaten streets. Why did you give me thick lips and a broad nose and kinky hair? Why did you make me someone who receives hatred and stares? Black is the color of a bruised eye when somebody gets hurt. Black is the color of darkness and the color of dirt. How come my bone structure is so thick and my hips and my cheeks so high? How come my eyes are brown and not the color of daylight sky? Why do people think I'm useless and how come I feel so used? Why do some people see my skin and think I should be abused? Lord, I just don't understand what it is about my skin. Why do some people want to hate me and not know the person within? Why did you make me black? Why did you make me black? And God answered, why did I make you black? Why did I make you black? Get off your knees and look around. Tell me what you see. I didn't make you in the image of darkness. I made you in the image of me. I made you the color of coal from which beautiful diamonds are formed. I made you the color of oil, the black gold that keeps people warm. I made you from the rich, dark earth that can grow the food you need, the color of the same as the panther's, known for her beauty and speed. Your color's the same as the black stallion, the majestic animal is he. I didn't make you in the image of darkness. I made you in the likeness of me. Your hair is the texture of lamb's wool. Such a humble and little creature he is. And I am the shepherd who watches them. I am the one who will watch over thee. You are the color of midnight sky. I put the stars glitters in your eye. There's a smile hidden behind your pain, and that's the reason why your cheeks are high. You are the color of dark clouds form when I send my strongest weather. I made you your lips full when you kiss the one that you love, and they will remember. Your stare is strong, your bone structure thick, to withstand the burdens of time. The reflection that you see in the mirror is the image that looks back, and it is mine.
Yeah. Right. I'm adding the snaps on the edit because
That's one of my favorite pieces in the book Philly Johns that came out last year. A collection of 40 women from all Philadelphia, born, and we're Johns, and it's been a blessing to be on tour with some of these women and reading our poems and hearing the different flavors of what it means to be Black and women, um, as into Nina Simone. So I wanted to share that with our audience, so continuing to celebrate Black History Month, which I celebrate 365 days a year. Um,
mm-hmm.
Shout out for the month, but we live in Black every day, and
Yeah.
Black is indeed beautiful.
Yeah.
So this morning, we want to invite our guests into the room. We're going to have an intense and great conversation with her. Hey,
Hi.
Good
oh,
morning.
Morning.
good morning. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good,
I'm
good.
great.
All right. Well, audience, we have Minister Monique Burgess, who is here with us. She's the fourth of five daughters born to the late Joyce Burgess. She is employed with the Philadelphia School District for 19 years as a middle school teacher. I'm sure you have a lot to talk about there. And a special education advisor. graduating from United Lutheran Seminary in May of 2020, where she earned her master's in divinity. She's creator and founder of Her Story Revealed Christian podcast, which airs every Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Podbean, and Her Tales podcast, which airs every Friday. Y'all might want to take a listen. Her podcasts are spicy. That's the word I like. They're spicy. Oh my goodness. So she's the mother of 3 children. She loves to travel, believes in traveling. I know it takes you out your comfort zone and inspires you to see, taste, and learn new things. I am in agreement. And her scripture, life scripture, is found in Romans 8:20, 38 and 39, which is one I love. For I'm persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate all of us, from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. So thank you for being here and being with us in this space this morning. We're happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
All right.
Linda, sorry, you saying Philly John? Hey, Minister Monique.
Yes, Philly Johns, but with an S. You know, Johns is a Philly word. Nobody else said, we created that.
Yeah.
We created a lot of stuff. Yes.
I'm excited to have you on the show. One of my social media clients has a nonprofit, HIV nonprofit. They educate women on HIV and prevention and education. So this is really cool that you're here.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you, because it just stumbled in my lap. But it wasn't even anything I was looking for. But I'm grateful to God that He's given me the opportunity to learn more about it, so that I can play it forward.
Okay. So how did you? Well, let's ask the quirky question because we haven't done that. You can ask this time, Miss Michelle.
So if you can have 3 foods and only 3 foods the rest of your life, what would they be?
Greens, crab, and lamb.
What?
Lamb. Okay.
Okay.
It's a weird combination, but they're like, I can eat those like every day if I could.
You can
Wow.
eat crabs every day?
Yes. Yes.
Remember that time we asked you? I think you asked if you were like on a desert island or something. What were the 3 things you could bring?
Yeah.
And Christy said she would bring a cell phone tower. I was thinking about that the other day, cracking up. She said she'd bring like a cell phone tower, her cell phone, and like a book or something like that. I gotta find that episode. That was so funny.
It was. I was like, a cell phone tower? Like,
yeah,
where
some of the answers, like crabs to me is hilarious. Like you gonna eat crabs for the rest of your life.
Yes.
And greens and lamb.
Yeah. And lamb. Right. Well, you got a vegetable in there, so I ain't mad at it.
Yeah.
I like vegetable. So how now our conversation today is about HIV and AIDS awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Could you tell us first of all, like how you got interested in that, and then how are you sharing that with your in your circle, your network?
So I became interested in it because it was a flyer circulating at United Lutheran, the seminary I was attending. So I applied for the program and I didn't hear anything. So it was like, okay, I guess they have enough people. It wasn't until a year later that Miss Dowdy, Kathleen Dowdy, she called me and said, are you interested in this program? And I forgot all about it.
Oh wow.
And I told her yes, and she put me in the 7-week program that she actually runs and facilitates, and here I am.
So what do you do in the program? Like what was the program for or about?
So the program is 7 weeks, and it just gives you an overview of HIV and AIDS education. just updated things about people living with or affected by HIV and AIDS. The updated medications that are now out, which is why a lot of people are able to live like a little long, a regular normal life. Um, just encouraging us. So if we were to come across somebody who might in ministry be suffering from HIV and AIDS, like we'll be able to, provide them with some information or console them in ways that other people probably wouldn't ordinarily be able to do. And that has happened to me a few
Mm.
years ago. It was just at a church service, and I'm talking, and this girl just let everything out, and I'm looking like, oh gosh, why is she telling me this? But I'm grateful that I can't even remember what I said to her, but whatever I said to her, I know that she left feeling okay about it. So part of that reason why too I decided to take the course is because I don't want to get caught off guard again like that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Reverend Horton, you always say be ever ready. And I want to be ready if that ever happens again, to be able to help people, to direct people to certain resources and certain people to help them, even if I can't. So.
Yeah. Do you I remember when I was thinking about our conversation and watching the All-Star weekend last weekend and looking at Magic Johnson. Now, I'm old enough to remember that when HIV AIDS blew up, as I'll say, right? Similarly, like, when people get COVID, nobody, I want to get next to you, blah, blah, blah. But I remember Magic Johnson, he was the biggest star at the time that contracted that. And it was mayhem, right? Where people didn't want to touch him. They didn't want to play ball with him because they thought you can get it by touching someone or being close to someone or sweat and all of that. And it seems to have diminished that outcry. But would you say that it's still prevalent, especially in our community, based on what you know?
Actually, that has not diminished. There are like several like YouTube clips on people telling their story about HIV and AIDS. That was one of the things that I've learned in our course. People are still afraid to be around people with HIV and AIDS. People still don't want to touch them. People still don't want to kiss them. People still have questions about, should I drink behind someone who has HIV and AIDS. These are some of the things that when it happened, people are still carrying these stigmas
Okay.
around with them. So it still exists. They don't want to touch people. They don't want to be around them. They don't.
But I think you don't hear about it as much.
No.
And honestly, if I didn't have the client that I had, because before I start working, I have to research the industry if I'm not familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember a couple of years ago, I was working with somebody who the person that they were with, they were dealing with someone else who had HIV, and she kept saying that you can't catch it from me because I've been taking my medication, so she's undetectable. And I'm like, she lying. I ain't never heard nothing like that before, girl. You know what I mean? Thinking like, what? But because you kind of really don't hear about it like that, you know what I mean? I didn't think that it was a thing, but it is a thing. Like you can, if you're taking the medication, like you can become undetectable and you can't, you won't pass it to other people. But there's not a lot of, I don't think there's a lot of initiatives pushing forth education about HIV and AIDS right now. A lot of people are still contracting it. There are a lot of women, and in our community, in the low income community, it's still an issue. And what I'm finding from my research is I think it has a lot to do with just the disparities in the community and not really it being in the forefront of your mind.
Yeah.
Even with condoms, being available to everybody, people still aren't having, the safest sex. And it's just, I don't know, it's just so much miseducation. Like I had to learn about, language, they, it's offensive to say infected with HIV. You want to say living with HIV. There's a
Oh,
lot that
wow.
goes into it, but nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it like they were. Just kind of like now COVID is dying down. I feel like they're not talking about it as much, but it's still prevalent. It's still here. And in fact, teenagers are getting it at an alarming rate too. Nobody's talking about it.
No. I think the shame and all of that, it comes from so many different angles where people who are living with it won't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
They can't go to the church because the church says you shouldn't be having sex before marriage anyway.
But
They
the caveat,
Mhm.
they're married women that that I was aware of that were married and still contracting AIDS. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it just can't be because you're not married, you know.
Well, that's part of it too. But as I was saying, I'm not saying it's all the church's fault. I was just giving
Okay.
examples of why no one really talks about it.
I got you.
There are people that are in married situations that contracts it from their husbands. Their husbands are either sleeping with other men and haven't mentioned it, said anything to their significant other,
Yeah.
or other women.
Mhm.
People contracted, unfortunately, if they were molested or abused. So it's different reasons why people are contracting it. But in Philadelphia in particular, it's just so many things that's going on in the lives of people.
Yeah.
I don't know if HIV and AIDS and or safe sex is even at the top of people totem pole. But
Mm-hmm.
what I have learned in this course, right? Like when you're going through hurt and when you're going through pain, for some of the people that may have contracted it, I'm not saying all, you
Mhm.
know, it's really interesting how the sex part of this plays in the minds of people when they're hurt, and then how they're contracting it then too. So it's
Mm.
just like a really interesting dynamic with HIV and AIDS, and how people even contract it or live with it. Like for instance, you might find somebody, well, why would they keep having all these kids? We say that a lot about women or men, but we find that, sex is cathartic too. It allows you to escape, to get away. Like people, unfortunately, would use drugs or drink. Is
Oh,
a
that's a good point.
way is a way to escape life. So while we're doing it, a lot of times when we're entering in these risky behaviors, we're not really thinking about the after effect that it's going to
Mhm.
have on us until
Mhm.
it actually happens.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then, like you said, it's a stigma behind it. So people, it's not a lot of people that are coming out being advocates for it, because people still, like you said, they don't even want to drink after you.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? They don't even want to be close to you. So why would you feel comfortable saying, "Hey, everybody, I'm HIV positive," and you're I just feel like that's part of it too. It's not a lot of people that are willing to come out and talk about it and speak about it. And then now with being able to be undetectable, right?
Hmm.
You probably don't feel like you have to tell anybody. Like, I'm
Yeah.
taking my medicine, my levels are low enough where you can't detect the virus in my blood, so why do I have to say anything? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? um I just really, like I said, taking on this client has really given me like a newfound interest in just educating and just putting the information out there. So when I'm creating content, I'm making sure that I'm doing as much education as I can. um People aren't talking about it. Like the kids, I asked my kids when I first took the client on, I was like, do you guys even, like, is that something that you guys are talking about, like in your circles? They're like, no. Only thing they're talking about is herpes. That's what they're worried about. That's what the kids are worried about, herpes. And I'm
Really?
like, yeah, okay, you can't get rid of herpes, but HIV, I mean,
That's
Ugh.
interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It is.
but on the flip side, on TikTok, there's people on TikTok like, I'm HIV positive, doing the dances. I have herpes, dancing about it, and it's like,
Hmm.
Interesting.
I don't even know what to say about that. I have to think
I'm
about
telling you, look on TikTok. There's like a whole group of people on TikTok doing the dances, the TikTok dances, but they're sharing their story about I just saw a video of a girl the other day. She was like, I think her caption says something like, the doctor said I shouldn't drink alcohol if I'm HIV positive or something like that. And she was like, we do not care. And then she started doing the dance.
So on the flip side of that, again, some people have this illness, right? And we got to look at the psychology behind that too, right? So part of what I learned in this class, and I'm going to dig a little deeper in this too, is the psychology behind having HIV and or AIDS. A lot of people don't want to accept the fact that they do have it, right?
Okay.
And because they don't want to accept the fact that they do have it, they're not interested in getting the treatment or doing what they need to do so that they could live a normal life like
Yeah.
anyone else. So because the trauma that's associated with contracting it, we don't know how that happened. There were people who was kicked out of families because they've had it. There were people that were ostracized I know pastors who have it, who was ostracized by their church family and church for having it. So the trauma even behind that. So can you imagine having this illness, and then you have the courage to speak about it and talk about it to someone, and then someone just says, get out of here.
Yeah.
So now you left all on your own.
It's I mean, again, I'll go back to, like, that's what I saw, what happened with Magic Johnson. I mean, it was like, you're no longer a viable human to even operate in society. So go to this island over here, wherever this island is, and just stay over there. And I think that's what we do anyway, with all, with everything that seems new, with COVID, people initially were, don't touch me, go, and I believe in the distancing and all of that, but taking it to an extreme. And I'm imagining, I'm like, are we being educated, or is there education for safe sex? Are we still, doing those types of things? Like, if you are going to engage, and I do want to also say, having sex is not the only way that you can get HIV
Oh,
and AIDS,
absolutely.
right? So we always kind of just pigeonhole it there, but there's still other ways to contract this disease. Is that correct?
Absolutely. It's if you're using intravenous sharing needles. Um so yeah, there is not just sex. It's, unfortunately we have a population of people that are using drugs intravenously and are sharing needles. So that's why you had this big old debate given those that population of people, these safe houses where they can go and inject freely. But then you have this outcry by the neighborhoods, the communities, because they don't want that stuff there, So it's like, people are going to do certain things. People are going to engage in certain behaviors. Why not? It's not like we're condoning what they're doing. If this is something they're going to do, and we're hoping that, they will get delivered from it someday, why not help keep the infection rate down by reducing the risk of them sharing the needles? Same thing with condoms. Why not
Mm-hmm.
hand them out? We're not saying, here, go have sex. That's not what we're saying. If people are going to do it, why not just give it to them? Have the resource available for them to bring down the infection rate.
Mm-hmm. 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 I'm in agreement. So how do you see the course that you took? How is it making you're making it applicable in maybe our communities, like once you finish learning about the course and all of the things that you need to know, then I'm imagining you get some kind of certificate, and you're able now to do what you're doing here on this show, having conversations, maybe sharing some details, resources and things
Mhm.
like that.
So you're right about that. I did receive a certificate, and I could go out and do trainings and stuff on it. I have all of the materials, everything that I need. to actually do the trainings on it. Part of my hope is that, I can really use this in the church community somehow, because it's necessary. Again, we don't know the numbers in the church of who's walking around with it. But even if it's just like a silent evangelism sort of thing, where you just have a nice resource board, everything that they would need to reach out to Philly Fight, because that's who I was trained through, Philly Fight on 12th and Locust, because they have everything. They have all of the resources where they can direct everyone or whoever it is who has the disease, getting proper medication and treatments, all kind of things. So again, you don't necessarily have to talk to me. It's just having the resources provided
Mm-hmm.
in a safe space where they are not being judged by picking up the pamphlet, where they're not being judged by reading the bulletin board.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I mean, I think it's definitely, I'm really glad that you did take the course because, like, I mean, I do know a few other people, but it is good to have a resource. And if someone even listening today, that may be interested or, struggling with that, here, this show is also a resource that to let you know. And I'm hearing what Minister Monique is saying, like, you know, not to be ashamed of something because we really are all carrying around something,
Yes.
right? It doesn't necessarily have to be HIV, it doesn't have to be AIDS, it could be what we are all carrying something around, that there are resources for us to get better, to be healed from, or either on the path of healing. And when we take that shame away, I think it also opens up the door for us to be healed.
Absolutely, because that's where you get clarity now. Like you're no longer walking around all foggy or confused about having the illness. And that's
Yeah.
what let's look on the other end of this. What about the family members who want to help their family members with this? So now we got the resources provided to even help them. We had a
Mm.
situation where in the cohort I was in, we had a grandmother whose grandchild had it. And she took the course because she wants to help him. She
Oh.
wants to be able to, because he fell in a deep depression as a result of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's on both ends. It's not just for the person that has it, but for the people who are embracing or lovingly embracing their community members or their family members about how to help them.
Yeah. Even like a friend of mine, she has children that she took in that have it. So imagine being in middle school, or imagine, thinking about your first experience or getting married. Like sometimes those things could cause you to be depressed because you're 13, you're 14, and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You have HIV, no fault of your own. Like that can be very depressing. So I feel like if you educate everyone, the community, the people around them, then they would feel more comfortable.
Mhm.
Um, talking about it or just getting the help or reaching out, maybe going to therapy and things like that. Our community needs so much help and so much support.
Yeah.
Um, as a community as a whole, I'm always talking about a whole and not just one part. Some people just get so consumed with what's going on within their own family.
That's
They
true.
forget that there's a whole world out there. So if you educate everybody, not
Mhm.
just your home, then people will feel more comfortable. The teenagers will feel more comfortable. And they're already going through a lot as it is right now. They're COVID, a lot of their social activities that they had going on, they couldn't do.
Mhm.
A lot of them are suffering from anxiety,
Yes.
stress. They're not thinking about HIV or, what I mean,
Right.
safe sex or any of that kind of stuff. They're not thinking about that. Um, so I think programs like the one that you took, I think the communication boards, I think all of that is important. And I think that
Mhm.
if we can ramp it up to try to just get the message out there, hey, this is still here. You can still live a regular life. Like, you can still get married. You can have children
You can
that,
still have families.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
it's not a death sentence like people think it is. It's okay. Like you said, everybody has something going on. You never know. You
That's
never know
true.
because everybody
Right.
doesn't want to come out and say it. So you don't know just because she didn't say anything or he didn't say anything doesn't necessarily mean they may be living with the same, virus that you have, where they may have something else. You know what I mean?
Right.
Everybody has a past, So I just think the more people that are brave enough to come up and talk about it, or the more people like yourself, Minister Monique, that say, "Hey, I want to learn about this because I want to help people." It's just a benefit and an asset to the community as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate thing is African people, we just have been programmed to like suffer in silence, and we gotta really change that. It's okay to go through things, and of course, you're not gonna tell everybody all your business, but there are some things that we gotta learn how to just speak up and talk and
Yes.
fight for. We fight for other things. Mental health definitely isn't one of them, and HIV people who are living with HIV and AIDS, that is a huge part of their recovery. If the mental health aspect of it isn't right, they're not going to be able to take on everything that they have to take on with trying to battle this disease, getting it to a point where it's undetectable, where they could live a high quality life. Because it's not just take the pill and you're undetectable. You
Mm-hmm.
literally have to be regimented, and it could be months.
Mm.
It could be months before it's regimented until you get to that point. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to put it out there like, oh, just take it this one time and you're good. That's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
You had to get regimented
Mm-hmm.
before you can get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, see a doctor. A lot of people aren't doing that. I'm fine, like you said earlier. They don't even want to go to get the medication. They don't want to talk to the doctor. They don't even want to acknowledge that it's happening to them.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
I think somewhere along the line, someone said something, and because of the reaction they've gotten, they they just decided, you know what, I'm gonna just keep this to myself.
They
But
went
I just
inside themselves. Yeah.
Right. I
Mm-hmm.
just want to encourage you not to do that. If you can't go anywhere else, go to Philly Fight, 1233 Locust Street. They have everything for you. They can hook you up with doctors where you can get your medication. Even people who are in prison, they send them out with a few days of medication. Philly Fight would hook you up, go see them, and you will get your stuff. No questions asked, and there's no cost to you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And see, that's great. That's a great resource right there that I know
Mhm.
that people didn't know. And so, I mean, listen, audience, resources are
Where
available.
is it located again?
1233 Locust Street.
Okay.
Philly Fight, you said,
Philly
right?
Fight.
Mm-hmm. Philly Fight. Um, I think the encouragement we as we come to a close of the show, the encouragement that we want to leave you with is to know that you are not alone. You are
Absolutely.
not alone. This is not something that has to kill you mentally, emotionally, or physically. They have resources that are available for your emotional health, your spiritual health with Minister Monique.
Mhm.
Churches, there are many churches that are embracing people of all kinds, and if you can't find a church, know that Jesus says, "Come, all that are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest." So, you have the spiritual connection, and it is not a death sentence.
It's
And
not.
when you think that if things are death sentences, I think that's when people live hazardly,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have to live like that. We can live for a long time with a lot of things. I'm a witness, right? I'm still here living with a
Mhm.
lot of things, because maybe of bad choices or environmental poverty, etc. But we never want to give up. And so we have Minister Monique that has so graciously come and given us a lot of information about HIV and AIDS. Philly Fight 1233 Locust Street is a resource that is available. Check her podcast out. I'm sure that you will be engaged and very spirited, as I said. And, you can always reach out to her through her social media handles as well. And is there anything you want to leave us with? And if not, then we are going to and sign
Uh,
off.
I just want to tell everybody, just be encouraged. God hears you, He sees you, He loves you. Just be encouraged and know that there are people praying for you and there is help available.
Wow. Absolutely. So,
Make sure you
audience,
let them know about Sacred Space Ministries
yes.
Friday.
So this Friday, we will be returning for our first Friday in March. Sacred Space Ministry will be on Facebook at 6:30 p.m. on my Facebook page, B. Michelle Horton. We're looking forward to celebrating Women's History Month and seeing what the Lord has to say about celebrating all of the women in the Bible, many who we don't even talk much about, but they are there. They are warriors. They are queens, and they matter to God. You matter to God. So hopefully you'll join us then. And of course, we'll be back right here next Sunday at 9 a.m. for another engaging and empowering conversation with a new guest. Thank you, Minister Monique, for coming
Thank
today and
you.
sharing with us. Please check her podcast out Fridays. If you ain't doing nothing, let me just tell you, watching TV, you might turn the TV off. I had to over my head a couple weeks ago and say, "Ooh." So I encourage you. So follow us, and we look forward to seeing you again. Thank you, guys. Have a great week, and may the Lord
Thank
be with
you.
you.